Hi everyone, welcome back to the Female Strive podcast on the 7th episode. A quick disclaimer, if you listen to this episode and you are not taking any action on these things, then don't listen further. Why? I don't want you to go through another year of not being your best self. You need to understand what an impact it has on your life when you are lazy. If you are lazy, then you are being forgotten because people who don't want to do anything with their lives will end up on the sideline. And I don't want that for you. I'm not saying that you need to have this hustling mentality and working until burning out for someone else. I'm speaking about you finding something that you want to work on, a passion, anything you want to contribute back to the society, something that gives you freedom financially and time-wise. I just don't want you to have an excuse, because you need to remember that life is unfair, and it is unfair, unfortunately, to everyone. So if you believe that what happened to you justifies that you are stuck where you are, then you will unfortunately be left behind. And the truth is that life will continue, life moves, everyone is busy with their own schedule, and so should you. And you know, of course, sometimes life gives us a setback and we need some time to recover from it. But as you had your time to heal, to reflect, you need to redirect your energy, because at the end of the day, you can talk to people, and if you have traumas or anything unresolved things from the past, then yes, it may be good to take some time. And yes, people will listen to your problems for a day and they will probably tell you, they may feel sorry, they might give you some advice. But you know, the bitter truth is that your problems are just temporary for them, whereas you were stuck with your own problems for the rest of your life if you don't do anything about them. So I always say laziness is a privilege. You know, there are sometimes people who have the luxury of being miserable and lazy. And I'm excluding here people who are sick, okay? And I'm also excluding people who went through burnout, who maybe have some mental health. But some people have enough money to cover their rent and food, to abuse substances, and they drink every day. But you know which people do not have the option to be lazy? Those who cannot afford to drink and sleep all day, because they need to find a way to exist. You know, I know people out there who are single parents, who are working from day to evening, raising multiple kids, trying to make ends meet. They have to get up every morning because they don't have a choice but to work and bring food to the table. They cannot stay at home just because they don't feel like it. Their money won't grow just because they don't feel like working at the moment. And do you know when laziness is also unavoidable? When you are in survival mode. People who have to survive have no option. People who have to go to work because there is no food otherwise on the table, they don't have an option to be lazy. And the same goes for people who are sick. People who are sick of cancer, they don't have an option but to do the best they can to be better every day, to improve themselves and their health. People who are fleeing wars, they have to walk for miles to find a safe spot. Otherwise, they don't even know if there will be another tomorrow. So in many cases, the ability to be lazy comes from having a certain level of financial stability, the access to resources, or a safety net that allows some people to take breaks. And they do all of it without facing severe consequences. You know, the halo effect wears off when you are lazy. When you are lazy, people will perceive you differently. The halo effect is when they're assuming that because you're physically attractive, you must also possess, for example, other qualities such as intelligence, kindness, competence. And the same as when we see someone successful, we think they are succeeding in other areas of their lives. So we assume if someone has a successful business, they must be also intelligent. They must also have a stable relationship. And they appear more attractive. They appear as if they have their lives together. But here's the thing. The halo effect, it won't work if you are lazy. It takes effort to be successful. It takes effort to have a good relationship. It takes effort to maintain beauty, to even physically appear attractive. It all takes effort. Because think about like bodybuilders or supermodels? Do you believe they feel like going to the gym all the time, watching what they eat, measuring their bodies, and doing all of these procedures to keep themselves in shape? I believe most probably not. Think about how often these people just want to sit at home and do nothing and watch Netflix. You see, they have no option because this is their career. So if those people do all of these things, taking care of themselves because this is tied to their goals, they know they can benefit from the halo effect. And so the same goes for someone who works on their business, works for themselves and not just for someone else. They create their own wealth. They create their own independence and freedom. And this all leads to the same outcome of perception because they work very hard to get closer to their dreams. And the thing is that you don't see what all happens behind the curtains, you know? All you see is what those people achieved, how successful they are, and all their money and possessions. You don't see, for example, the discipline of all the struggles and the hard work that comes along with it. Emotions are temporary, and a bright future can last longer, if not even forever. You need to have a mindset shift, and for that, you need to understand that our brain is not designed to do the things that are scary, difficult, or uncomfortable. Our brain is designed to protect us from those things because it is trying to keep us alive. And this also means when it comes to fighting laziness, our brain is against us. But here's the thing, for you to be better, you need to do difficult things. Never let yourself be fooled by your brain. And the good news is that we can train it. You can train it, I can train it, everyone can train it. And you know why there are people working much harder than you do right now? Because they know if they put in the work, regardless of how they feel, regardless of their emotions, they are doing a favor for their future selves. They respect themselves and their future so much that they are living beyond their emotions. They do it because they know this will pay off one day. So if you want a better life, a life that is tied to goals, you need to stop how you don't want to do certain things because you just feel like this at the moment. Imagine how far everyone else is ahead of you in 5 years just because they are content with the idea of failing, knowing this is unavoidable just to be successful. Trying something and failing to become successful happens to everyone. It happens to the richest people on the planet. This is a part of their journey. Not trying in the first place is the worst thing you can do for yourself. So you need to have this possibility mindset, okay? You need to remember that there is nothing out there that is out of your league. Everything for you is achievable. So ignore what your brain is telling you because it cannot help but probably it just feels terrified at the thought that this is an unfamiliar venture that you have never done before in your life because you live in the past. But you know what you need to do? You push past that feeling, exactly that feeling that gives you the anxiety or whatever it is, and you try it anyway. You won't probably enjoy it. It will be really hard for you, but you must train your brain to build this resistance, and the resistance will be stronger each time you will deal with things that you don't like. So you need to turn your dreams into reality. Turning dreams into reality requires effort. You are responsible for making the vision in your head a reality. We are living in this 3D world that follows the law of cause and effect. This is something I already mentioned in my previous episode. No one will make your life easier except yourself. And this depends on the amount of discipline and self-love you have. Remember, every time you neglect to take a step towards fulfilling your true potential is the time you are betraying yourself. Ask yourself, how much are you willing to show up for yourself? Because there is one outcome I can guarantee you when you are lazy. And the outcome is regret. And this will show over time. Now, have an emotional attachment to the person you want to become and master your energy field. When you don't have an emotional attachment to the person you want to become, you are becoming easily distracted. You are becoming easily obsessed about what other people are doing or what other people are thinking or saying about you. As long as you are not falling in love with the person you want to be, you are neglecting yourself. And when you neglect yourself, you're gonna stay lazy. So you need to change your emotional attachment to who you want to be. And the change happens subconsciously. And that emotional attachment has to be so strong that you are willing to go through the fire to become the best version of yourself. If you cannot have an emotional attachment to who you want to be, you remain obsessed with other people's lives and what they are thinking about you. So the change you can make is through your conscious mind. And the conscious mind is just a tiny percentage of our mind, because a lot of things happen subconsciously. But because we have the power to change our conscious mind, we can consciously change also the information we gonna consume and what we allow to get into mind, that we are aware of it at least. So ask yourself, who are the people you are hanging out with? What are your habits? What are their habits? Who do you follow on social media? So instead of having this outward energy, have this inward energy for yourself. Focus on the energy for yourself that is inwards. Make yourself the priority number one, and be so busy with yourself that there is almost no energy left for other people's businesses and other people's life. Now, make achievable steps. The reason you cannot focus is because you want too many things. You are thinking too much, and you need to simplify things. Break down your goals into little steps so you can achieve them consistently and efficiently. You can't tell yourself at the end of this year, I'm gonna have a 7-figure business. This sounds so overwhelming and almost impossible. So move this into tiny goals to make them achievable, so you can be more satisfied with yourself, to raise your confidence. Because what happens is that you can now easier contribute to the bigger goal, and you take those small steps and you will succeed them every day, every time you are completing them. Now, identify the value of your work. What is your driving force? You know why people procrastinate and they don't get the work done? It's usually because they think, what is the point? This is how sometimes people feel when they just work for the sake of working, to be busy with something because everyone else is working. And then they start to burn out because they have no driving force and no motivation. Assuming you have now improved your mindset. You know what it is? You can still doubt yourself. You may not see the value in the effort you make. And you probably think that everything what you do is a waste of time. Now, what can we do about it? When you are setting a goal, it should not just be, let's say, to get an A in your test, or just to make 1 million euros, just to have that job promotion. You need to attach your goal to the why. Because why would you, for example, want to have that much money? Is it to retire your parents? Is it to have financial freedom to start a family? Are you at that point where you want to start a family? Is it maybe to eat the best food in the world? Is it maybe for you to travel the world? Is it because you want to give something back to the community? What is your purpose? What is your drive? What is your mission? So think about it. Think about a lifestyle or a cause that you are striving for. What is the life that you want to live? Write down the reasons why you do what you do, how they will benefit your life. Write them alongside your goals, so whatever positive habits you pick up and whatever task you decide to do is worth doing to you. Track your progress. Laziness will feed on your lack of willpower. Laziness is a habit. It's not a personality trait. Like all other habits, it can be broken into pieces. Note down things to keep track of your work and progress. You need to make specific goals. Tick them off when you have them achieved. Having a list and ticking points off gives you this sense of urgency. So when you have a list and you wake up every single day, you know exactly what needs to be done, and you even know the time frame when it will be done. Like, how amazing is that? Because if you don't have this track, you will have dead time. And what happens is that you now have to brainstorm on what you should be doing. So just have a list, because lists will keep you efficient and you won't fall behind. Another benefit is that if you look back on your track record, let's say when you are not feeling particularly up to do anything, then the track record can be such a huge motivator for you, because now you can see all the steps you have done so far, how far you have came. And because you came that far, you can't give up right now. Because here's the thing, there will be times when you feel like your hard work is not taking you anywhere. All you do is invest all your energy, your time, your sweat, your blood, your tears into improving yourself, and maybe, you're on a diet and then you see on the scale tells you are not doing, let's say, good enough. And in those times, you need to remember that change is a gradual process. You may not see it until you compare yourself to where you are now versus where you used to be, okay? So rediscover your direction. Ask yourself what happens if you leave things the way they are. How would that make you feel? Will you be happy? Will you be sad? Will you be like insanely frustrated? Ask yourself this question, because 9 out of 10, you will regret that you were lazy. If you struggle with the habit of laziness, the future is the last thing that you want to imagine. Because the here and now for you is kind of like a safe cocoon, And that's why you need to ask yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years? Do you like the person you are becoming? Those hypothetical questions, they help you to put things into perspective, to get you to evaluate your present conditions and lifestyle to see if you are on the right path. And if you're not, you will be motivated to correct any negative habits and make lasting changes to your lifestyle. And again, the last thing you want to feel is regret, just because you have been lazy about something. Now, dress up for productivity. Dressing up for productivity is the easiest hack you can apply. Losing your comfortable clothes is such a small price to pay for some motivation and productivity. Like when you dress differently, you act and you feel differently. You think differently. When you put together some classy clothes where you feel like very efficient, where you feel like you can be out there showing yourself to get going, and you, let's say, go to a library, you go to the cafe, because then you also, you see other people sitting there with their laptops. You see other people doing their work. And this also motivates you and pressures you to also get your work done. So make it a special point of duty in the morning to dress like a champ. My next point is time management. Why? Because time management helps you to identify time wasters in your life. Without knowing on what you spend your time, you cannot utilize it effectively. It's just like that. So you probably already heard about the Pomodoro technique. You also call it tomato timer. So in that technique, you improve your concentration and focus. And this technique was built to accommodate the needs of the human mind. So what happens there is that you will work 20 minutes and then you have 5-minute break. And then you have another 20 minutes of work. And then you have another 5 minutes of break. Now, if you think 20 minutes is too much for you and you can't get yourself up, then just try with 3 minutes. Put a timer on your phone, open your laptop, do the work, or read that book or whatever it is. And after 3 minutes, you have the option to either stop doing the task or do something different. Or you will continue on the task. Now, why is this so effective? 9 out of 10, you will continue doing the task. Because 9 out of 10, the reason we procrastinate and cannot commit to our goals is because of the process of starting it in the first place. Like, for example, if I don't feel like going to the gym, then all I commit is to put my gym clothes on. And then I promise myself to have the free choice of to do whatever I want afterwards. So probably most of the time I will go to the gym anyways. Now, in time, you will find yourself pushing through difficult work with speed. So when you manage your time well, you learn to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because instead of scrolling on your phone, you know that you need to get your life together, okay? And you need to get the things done because you have a schedule and task to get to. So when you have a time planner or a to-do list, then you are reminded that every action or inaction has consequences. And you know, most of the times we don't work on things just because we are fearing to confront the things we have to do. So we just procrastinate, we just delay them. Now, if you manage your time, you have to confront your fears. And when you do that, you will regain the confidence and your ability. And you will also build that resilience, as I have spoken about it before. The key to discipline. Lazy people are lazy because they are addicted to comfort. Discipline is the obsession with discomfort. So I watched recently this podcast from Andrew Huberman with David Goggins, where Andrew Huberman explained about the brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And it is showing that when people do something they don't want to do, like for example, they add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when they're trying out a diet to lose weight or resist to eat something, when they do, for example, anything they don't want to do, this brain area, literally, it gets bigger. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex is, for example, smaller in obese people. However, it gets bigger when they are on diet. It is larger, for example, in athletes, and it is especially large and grows larger in people who see themselves as challenged and those who like to overcome challenges. And in people that live a very long time, this area keeps its size. So scientists see this brain area as like a seed of the will to live. It means that we can build it up, and as we continue to build this up, we need to invest in things that are hard for us. And that's the crucial point. You need to invest in things that you don't want to do. So what I'm saying with that is that regardless if you are a woman, if you are a man, if you don't work on your challenges every day, things you experience out of your comfort zone. It can be learning something new, okay? It can be creating something new. It can be creating a new habit, like going to the gym, eating well, networking in a new circle, talking to people you feel uncomfortable with. If you don't do all of this, then your anterior mid-cingulate cortex will shrink again. So not only getting out of being lazy will benefit your future self, but your brain will grow as well when you challenge yourself. And this is one of the recent discoveries neuroscience has made. It's actually insane. If you think about it, it's wow. And even David Goggins himself, he's saying that people are not blessed with a strong mind. But this is something you need to develop yourself. To develop all of this, it requires a lot of discipline. The next point is compete with yourself. Remember to compete only with yourself. Stop comparing yourself and just be the best version of yourself. When you are the best version of yourself, you have the focus on yourself, on your priorities, what brings you further in life and who brings you further in life. Are you surrounded by supporting and inspiring people? Are you with people with whom you just waste your time by partying every week? If it is the latter, then change this. Redirect your energy to you. Are you constantly thinking and obsessing about a random guy or like a toxic relationship? Redirect your energy to you. Are you constantly feeling the fear of missing out on random things? Redirect the energy to you. Are you obsessed with scrolling and getting nosy about other people's life? Redirect that energy to you. Ask yourself, what and who are you competing with? You can only expand your life if you bring all your energy to yourself. Build the strengths, have this discipline, have this list in your life that brings you further to your goals. Because nobody is giving you this life you want if you don't put in the work, and no one will make your bank account grow if you won't put in the work yourself. I believe in you, and remember never to regret anything in your life just because you let your laziness overcoming you. Focus on the things that you can do instead of thinking what you cannot do. Focus on what are you good at. List 3 things you can do. What are you passionate about? What makes you happy? Who makes you happy? Now, I hope this has brought you further. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment what you wish to see for the next episode. I send you lots of love. I believe in you and see you next time.